Sorry, Jim, this isn't about Brexit, so you can give away the microphone again. I'll talk to you about Clonea hurling later on. Lads, just in relation to insurance, from where you're sitting up there tonight, if there's an incident happens down here, we're all guilty. We're the employer, we're guilty. Why has the system been developed like that, or been allowed to develop like that, or evolve like that? We'll say the Personal Injuries Board, quite simple thing. If someone goes to the Personal Injuries Board and they have a legitimate claim, why is it the employer has got to pay the 600 or 800 euro? Why, if the claimant, and this would get rid of fraudsters in my mind, are they not asked to put their 600 or 800 euro up front? Then, if their claim is successful, they get back the 600 or 800 euro. Why are we as employers being asked to foot the bill first? We must prove that we're innocent in every case.
Well, the 2004 Civil Liability Act and the Injuries Board are the two nubs of insurance law in Ireland. The Injuries Board was set up to expedite the resolution of claims at an early stage because it was projected at the time that 60% of a payout went in legal fees and doctor's fees, etc. If there's an accident in the morning and you go to your doctor and you say that you have a pain in your back, a pain in your shoulder, soft tissue, non-remarkable, the doctor is obligated to reduce that to writing. It in turn goes to the Injuries Board. The Injuries Board make a determination. You either accept or reject. If you accept, done and dusted. If you reject, we're off to the courts. The solicitor's card is stamped and you go through the process. It was designed in a way that it would be least impactful on the legitimate claimant. And the majority of claimants are legitimate. So if we were to take the route that you eloquently suggest, we would be putting the onus upon the majority of people who are genuinely injured to incur a cost. Now, if the settlement is made through the Injuries Board, that money is returned to them. So in answer to your question, it was designed with the intent to recognize that the majority of people will tell the truth. So we would pick up the cost because we're the insurance company.
In other words, it's just going on the basis that the small guy is right and he's just taking on the big guy, so the big guy picks up the tab. In most cases, the big guy are us. We're perceived to be wrong. Now, I'm running a small business out there, and if I have small claims coming against me, like incorrect claims coming against me, claims that shouldn't be taken at all, and we all have them, and we all know they're coming down the track.
I certainly appreciate what you're saying. What I cannot comment on is the fairness of it. I can reflect upon the logic of the process.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a system that, between the insurance and solicitors and the whole lot, that has been allowed to evolve. It's a system that actually benefits the fraudster. It gives the fraudster the power. It puts us on the back foot straight away because on the clips there earlier on, we've got to prove we've all the training done. We've got to prove we've all the checks done. We've got to prove that we have every whole thing done down along the line. We've got to prove the guy came into work and he had the right boots on in the morning. He didn't come in his bed slippers. I mean, I'm not watching him come into work in the morning. I'm taking it for granted. He knows he's got to wear his PPE gear.
But your insurer, with respect, will defend on the grounds that whatever you represent is what you're representing. If there is a higher picture of evidence from the claimant, well then, this is a matter, we're in the business of settling claims from a claims department perspective. We're in the business of protecting your interests, which is what we do. I'm not in the business of saving money for an insurance company. If it manifests that I pay only what I owe in some form or fashion, that manifests in a saving, well and good, but that is not the intent. My intent and design is in accordance with the terms and conditions of your policy to protect your interests.
Appreciate that. Thanks very much.
There is an issue here, and we all feel like that because we all have claims against us in some respect or other. But in general terms, the insurance industry will react to the legislation that it's living in whatever environment that might be, in whatever country that will be. There's countries with very low levels of legislation where you've got insurance companies which make a lot more money than they do in Ireland with very high levels of premium payments and claims. But unless Irish society, for example, decides that it'll change its personal injury compensation system to something that's more in line with some of those low compensation environments, all of us, and we all have buy insurance in all our businesses, we're all going to be stuck with that problem. So it's a societal problem that won't be changed quickly. So I'm afraid we're in that environment, and it's a difficult place to be without a doubt, and it is making us seriously uncompetitive. And I would say Jim could give us lots and lots of data in relation to that. So I would love to be able to go back to an insurance company and say that compensation levels are going to be like they are in the UK, where they're not near as high, but now they're going to cap them at a really low level in the future. There's legislation going through for that at the moment, and we need to go there, and we need to go there fairly pronto. It's a political decision, though, so it needs to be done.
Could I just add to that? The Injuries Board does get a lot of bad press, but it shouldn't be lost. It shouldn't be lost on us that, in fact, what the Injuries Board was designed to do was to settle cases without incurring legal fees, and in many, many cases they actually achieve that. And so the cost, if you like, to the defendant or the defendant insurer in those circumstances is actually just the Injuries Board fee in terms of the cost plus the damages. And so in one regard, although it does get a lot of bad press, it actually has seen a significant reduction in the amount of monies that had been paid out in legal fees prior to its implementation. Now, there's clearly something else wrong, and it's not just legal fees, because the insurance costs have never been worse, and PIAB, whilst it was set up, or the Injuries Board, whilst it was set up to address that issue, clearly missed the target by concentrating solely on legal fees and not on other issues such as levels of damages, because it's the level of damages which is really crippling the industry. The incidence of claims, the amount of claims in Ireland are no greater than they are in other Western European countries. Our driving is no worse than it is elsewhere. Maybe there are certain pockets where we might perform worse, but there are certain pockets where we perform better. But the Injuries Board has significantly reduced legal costs, and therefore, without its introduction, in fact, we'd be in a much worse position. So, in one regard, although it does get a lot of bad press, it actually has reduced the amount of legal fees that are paid out, but it hasn't addressed all of the other options, all of the other issues which are plaguing the insurance industry in Ireland.